Now we move to the fourth and final important issue in the name of Deputy Holly Kearns, who wishes to discuss with the Minister for Housing, Planning and Local Government ongoing issues at wastewater treatment plants in West Cork. Minister Burke is dealing with this, I think. Deputy Kearns, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Minister, since being elected, wastewater treatment is a recurring issue raised by communities in Cork South West. I'm focusing on the case of Belgooly and Shannonvale tonight, but I can and will send details about issues from areas from Bandon to Goleen in the Mizen Peninsula. I suppose from an environmental perspective and a health perspective, the very least people should expect is the proper treatment of wastewater and household sewage. However, years of underinvestment in water infrastructure has left communities and areas exposed to discharge and serious malodour. The EPA's Water Quality in 2013-2018 report found that almost half of our rivers, lakes and estuaries are ecologically unsatisfactory. Wastewater discharges is listed one of the main causes of deterioration after agriculture. The Programme for Government acknowledges our water infrastructure deficits and its role in pollution and environmental damage. I really welcome the commitment to ensure Irish Water can invest in wastewater treatment and want to raise two cases in West Cork which need to be prioritised. Belgooly is a wonderful village between Cork City and Kinsale, a great place to live near the coast. However, the quality of life for residents in Riverbank and surrounding estates has been seriously affected by awful odours coming from a wastewater treatment plant for close to 2 years now. Residents there have to keep their windows closed and at times they can't let their children out to play. There are also reports of untreated wastewater from this plant being discharged into a nearby estuary. I'll quote a tweet by a local from the 11th of July. Another beautiful day ended abruptly with the horrendous malodour from our treatment plant. The smell is in my home. We had to close all the windows again and endure the smell indoors as well as outdoors. We can't even open our windows tonight to cool down. This plant is not working. It's clearly not fit for purpose, and the most distressing thing for residents is that it's not being resolved. Repeated complaints have been lodged with Irish Water and the EPA. Engineers visit, the tank is desludged, and we're assured that the plant is within capacity, and yet the issue remains. Myself and my team have been attempting to deal with this issue for considerably less time than the residents, but we're finding ourselves lost between Irish Water and other bodies, between different reports and other bureaucratic barriers. But the people of Belgooly are being fobbed off and it can't go on. So, Minister, I'm wondering, can you give me assurance that you will take action on this? And that's not all. There's one more I want to raise. There's also a desperate need for immediate action on an issue of an overflowing septic tank in Shannonvale, near Clonakilty. The plant, which services 9 houses in the area, was put into the park in the middle of the village. It's a beautiful site next to the Argadine River, which used to host loads of community events until it was installed. It was the kind of town park, a public amenity area. And now it's overgrown and dilapidated with a septic tank that's overflowing with untreated water that's flooding into the area and then entering the river. So you can imagine how awful that is for residents in Shannonvale. It should be the heart of the village, but instead it's currently unsafe for the children to play in the area. Irish Water, Cork County Council and the EPA are all aware of the situation. They have been for years, but it hasn't been resolved. The Council empty the plant regularly and sedimentation has been added, but the underlying issue remains. So the people of Shannonvale also need action. I visited these communities in recent weeks and I don't want to go back to them and say the same thing that Irish Water have told me, the Council. I want to tell them they don't have to put up with anymore. I think it is unacceptable. So I'm wondering, will you please do something about it? Don't do an Irish Water on it. Don't pass the problem on to somebody else. Carry out a report that achieves nothing or simply ignore it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Kearns. Minister, have you the solution in hand?
Thank you, Karen Corla. I'll do my best. I would like to thank Deputy Kearns for raising this issue, which I understand is of significant and huge concern for her constituents, as she has outlined. At the outset, I should highlight that the Environmental Protection Agency, as environmental regulator, is responsible for setting quality standards and enforcing compliance with EU directives and national regulations for drinking water supplies and wastewater discharges to water bodies. Since the 1st of January 2014, Irish Water has statutory responsibility for all aspects of water services planning, delivery and operation at a national, regional and local level. Irish Water's primary function is to provide clean, safe drinking water to customers and to collect, treat and return water safely back to the environment, including the 2 wastewater treatment plants, Deputy, that you raise here today. My department has no longer responsibility or direct role in monitoring or supervising the delivery of water services. However, from inquiries made with Irish Water, I understand that while refurbishment works were carried out in 2018, further investigations for sewer network blockages and possible malfunctions have been carried out and rectified where possible. Notwithstanding these actions, Irish Water is considering the need for an upgrade to the treatment plant at Belgooly to cater for the existing and projected future loading in the area during the investment planning process for the next capital investment plan. I understand from Irish Water that the treatment system at Shannonvale consists of a septic tank and percolation area that services a terrace of 9 houses. The septic tank is not overloaded. However, Irish Water's investigations suggest that the source of the issue is the percolation area. Irish Water is examining what operational remedial works or capital maintenance that are required and can be undertaken in advance of any infrastructural project at Shannonvale. As you appreciate, the investment needs to come across our entire water system and considerable to take a number of investment cycles to fully resolve what will require significant and sustained investment. Under the recently adopted programme for government, the government has committed to continuing the €8.5 billion funding package agreed in Project Ireland 2040, which will be invested in public water services to ensure the continued operation, repair and upgrading of Irish water and wastewater infrastructure to support social and economic development across the state and ensure compliance with EU directives. In more general terms, the Government River Basin Management Plan 2018-2021 outlines what Ireland is doing to protect and improve all our waters. The next River Basin Management Plan is currently being prepared by my department. And I would accept that Deputy Kearns does make a very strong argument for her constituents in the 2 areas that she's outlined, and especially in relation to the safety issue that you raised in Shannonvale for those residents and potentially for children. And I will revert back to Irish Water through the department and see what further update we can get. But as you can see, there is a lot of areas throughout the country that have significant pressure points that's going to require significant capital investment over the next number of years. And I see some of my own constituency as well that are urgent. And it does take, obviously, money to try and fund these, but Project Ireland 2040 has a significant budget behind it.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Kearns.
Thank you, Minister. I suppose that is, kind of precisely the response that I didn't want this. I know that, like you say, it's Irish Water's responsibility, but there does seem to be a bit of confusion there. You say it's all their responsibility, but I know the Cork County Council are responsible for desludging, for example. So I think there is some grey areas there. And I suppose at what point, when it actually affects people's quality of life, can the state then intervene if Irish Water continuously just fob off communities like that? And like when I say it affects their lives, like not being able to let your kids out to play, particularly during lockdown, and then, perhaps getting to the stage of wanting to move and it actually affects the price of your house. It's kind of it's a whole other story. But I wonder, can you provide clarity? I think we need greater transparency around how projects are prioritised as funding becomes available. Shannonvale has had this issue for years. And we have been in touch with the EPA. Like you say, it's their responsibility too. And it's just appalling for the local community. So I'm wondering, can we get information on how funding is prioritised? And when you say that the next capital grant that one of these projects is on that, is that guaranteed? And when would that happen? Thank you.
Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Count Corla. As I stated in my opening remarks, Irish Water's primary function is to provide clean, safe drinking water to customers and to treat, collect and return wastewater safely to the environment. In providing these critical services, Irish Water plays a role in enabling social and economic growth. Obviously, there is a huge challenge facing Irish Water because over 1 billion litres of wastewater from homes and businesses are collected every day in Ireland's public sewers and treated at 1,100 different treatment plants across our system. As I pointed out in the previous response, the capital investment programme is significant, but obviously the scale of the problem across our country and has been highlighted in the past, is also quite significant. So I will go back to Irish Water. As I said, I will commit to do that with the two key areas that you've pointed out. As stated in the reply for Shannonvale, they are examining what remedial capital maintenance works can be carried out in advance of the capital programme. And secondly, with Belgooly, obviously that's a significant issue, as you point out, for the residents of Riverbank, and would be quite serious as you're talking about the estuary. You're saying that effluent is potentially discharged, and so I would bring those two issues because you've made a strong case in relation to both of them. But I just want to be very clear on the other hand that there are quite a number of competing challenges in terms of the capital investment programme for Irish Water. There's a number of problems throughout the country, and obviously they have to be assessed independently by Irish Water, and those in most need obviously have to get catered for first. But you've made a strong case, and I'll do my very best in my capacity to bring that case back.
Okay,
Semi-state, do the state have any role to play in Irish Water? Like what?
Irish Water is obviously fully independent in terms of its legislative base. It has a budget from the state through the capital
Can the
investment
state
programme,
intervene, I suppose, at a certain point? Do they have a
It's
role?
independent, so in theory it has its own CEO, it's its own independent board, so it is independent from the state, and that's the
might
whole.
be encouraged, perhaps.
But we'll do our best. I'll bring the case. You've made a strong case, so I'll do my best to go back.
I would thank you. I'd really
Okay,
appreciate
good
it.
amount of Dere le ganon le anu agus from Dollar Ahlo the lahur tradition ani lahur tradition ni Ajana Mark Kurmagif.